Basil Spence was one of the 20th century's most famous Scottish architects. He was born in Bombay in India, but he was of Scots parentage. His father hailed from Orkney, and he spent his entire education in Edinburgh. He very much considered himself a Scot throughout his entire life.
Basil Spence was chosen to design the British Embassy in Rome because he was the most famous architect in Britain of the time, arguably, well used to delivering prestigious, high-profile projects for the government, and ideally suited in design terms to delivering a respectful and appropriate design for a very sensitive site right in the middle of Rome.
An interesting thing that happened when the building was being constructed was that a Roman mosaic was discovered on the site, and this was actually used in the final building. It was surveyed at the time and taken away and restored, and fragments of it, quite a large proportion of it actually, was used as the base of the pool that sits around the British Embassy.
The idea behind the design was, as Spence said, he wanted to have one hand back in Roman times and one hand now. He designed a palazzo building raised on columns to allow airflow through, and although it's quite a small building, it actually has enormous gravitas. This is what he was extremely good at, giving a sense of monumentality on quite a small scale.
The materials that were used to construct the British Embassy in Rome are of the highest quality, and particularly the use of travertine marble. The marble came from the same quarry that Michelangelo used, so it's very much rooted in the history of the city. And that's everything from the actual building itself to the fittings and finishes within it. An interesting item in the archive, which was actually gifted to us by the British Embassy in Rome, is this doorknob here. Not only is it of high quality, but also it's a very cool material as well in a hot climate. Everything was done to ensure that working conditions were comfortable.
His buildings have a very humane element to them. He always puts the people who are going to be using it at the forefront of his thinking. So I think it's this humanity that really characterises his approach to modern architecture, and the blend of those, I think, is what makes his buildings so appealing and long-lasting and good to be in.
The Sir Basil Spence Archive was gifted to Historic Environment Scotland by Spence's family, and it's a treasure trove of facts and information about the architect and his buildings.
There are some wonderful photographs in the Spence archive at HES of this project, but the group that really brings it to life, I think, are the photographs that Spence took when he visited the building on its completion and he brought his family. So here he is. The photograph is taken by his son-in-law Anthony Blee, who's married to his daughter Gillian, who's in the picture here, and Spence is standing behind his wife Joan, and they give a really nice personal element to the archive.
Ciao!